Peter, this is your video of your first golf lesson. Approximately first week in July 2015. The yellow lines are your plane line, and the idea is the shaft of your club, the head of your club, and the butt of the club should remain on a line that is parallel to one of these yellow lines. And anytime you break that, it's unneeded movement and requires another compensating move to put it back on plane. As you take it back, it turns out the club head's in the right spot here. See how the shaft is parallel to your toe line? Oh, by the way, your setup looks pretty good. I'd drop your hands a little lower and maybe a little more over the ball, like Adam Scott. But in general, it's a pretty good setup. Nice flat back. Looks like an athletic position. You know, we have to work on your grip a bit. You can see how it's, that V is outside your shoulder, but we'll get to that later. So as you come back, it's in the right position, but see how Scott's is toe up. And if it's toe up in this position, it just makes the swing easier. There's some details we don't need to go into right now, but it has to do with arm rotation and things like that. So let's get the toe of the club up right, just like his. See the toe of the club? It's right there. And then, your chin is kind of down, and when your shoulder bumps into your chin, you stop your swing. The shoulder tilt's pretty good, except that's the top of your swing, and it's now off plane. See where his shoulder goes under his chin, and he can get his hands keep going this way. And this is the position we want to see. The shaft is out here to the left, forearm straight down. Right wrist is folded back like the server's tray position. Now, when you're in this, it's kind of a restricted backswing. And what happens is, because you're off plane, you start here. See how you're throwing the club head? Now, as I explained during the lesson, this is the kiss of death because it's steep. If you don't make any correction, you're going to drive a fork right in the ground somewhere here behind the ball. And then if you make a correction, you've got a good chance of pulling it. If you overcorrect, you're going to push it. See, when you come down, you're a good athlete. So you go to, so you're just kind of throwing your hands, and the club head is outside your hands here. Now, you don't want to shove it in the ground behind the ball, so you lift up out of it. See how your head, and you're standing up, losing your spine angle, trying to save it. So that good spine angle you had addressed basically doesn't exist here. So this ball will go left unless you try to save it with an open club face. And that's where your slice comes in, because your club's outside the ball, it's coming across. If you release the club head and closed it up, it would go left and more left. So, you figured it out. The club's outside. This is an outside-in swing path. So to get it back on the fairway, you got to leave the club face open and spin it back. So that's where your slice comes in. And you don't really release the club because of that reason. But this is pretty good action through here, kind of standing out of it. You know, this is nice, belly to the target. It's just a little late. So, your mission is to get the club face toe up here, and then I'd like to see your chin up just a bit and get you a more completed backswing up to this point. And that's all I'm playing as opposed to this point. And I'll give you a hard copy of this. But, you know, you got good action there, but you start from really a weak position, and then you make it worse by making it steep. See how all he does he sets the club down right to here, and then he turns through. Let's look at the other dimension, which should be no surprises. See this V? Is kind of out here. We want it more towards here, and that's that V, and this is the other V on your left. Those should be the same, and so your wrists are working in opposition to each other. Tip of your nose. So you've shifted off like 6 inches. So your swing basically is a shift off, a sway off, and then a sway back, which is hard to time. And what we want to do is turn it more rotational. Like, you know, see how the weight is out here on the outside part of your right foot. It should always be on the left instep of the right foot. And see how your shoulder really hasn't gotten back. And this is kind of broken down, so you have width of a short person, like 5'1" or 4'10" or something. And see how you just, you know, your lower body is still, and you're just throwing the club this way. So your tip of your nose started here. It moves back. It stays back, and then it comes up, and then it moves back again. And you end up with this little chicken wing setup here. I'm not worried about this at this time, because if we tried to fix that, we're not fixing the cause. It's caused by an improper backswing and coming down too steep. We'll get to it later, but let's show you what this looks like at the pro level. See how his weight is on his instep, right instep. See how his shoulder gets behind the ball. you know. That's like a 110-degree turn of the shoulders. He's got good width here. And when he starts, again, this isn't the first lesson. This is probably like the third or fourth lesson. Starts with the lower body, comes through, and ends up for this position. And we'll get there, except you can't get there with the backswing you have.